Chapter 157. Loud noises erupted frequently. Boulders fell from the cave passage, and the entire mountain seemed to be shaking. Fighting 1 against 3, Li Fuchen had completely suppressed Li Wuxia, Duan Hai, and Duan Muyo. This was mainly because the cave was narrow, and the advantage of having more people could not be brought into play. Secondly, even though Li Fuchen couldn't see his opponent clearly, but Li Fuchen's senses were much sharper than the other 3. Thirdly, which was also the most important point, Li Fuchen's ability was sufficient. Breaking through from the 8th level of the Origin Realm to the 9th level of the Origin Realm, Li Fuchen's base ability had once again increased by several folds. 1 versus 1, or 1 versus 2, no one was a match for him. After the time it took to brew a cup of tea, 4 figures rushed out of the cave one after another. The first to rush out of the cave was Duan Muyo, followed by Li Wuxia and finally Duan Hai. All 3 of them had bloodstains on their bodies. Duan Muyo had the least bloodstains on his body, with only a single tear on his clothes. Li Wuxia was almost half covered in blood, with blood stains all over his body. Duan Hai was the most miserable. He who loved to fight was basically fighting and retreating at the same time. As a result, he suffered the most injuries, with one of his ears being sliced off by Li Fuchen. Outside the cave, the other 8 people who had already retreated were shocked. Duan Muyo, Duan Hai, and Li Wuxia were undoubtedly the strongest 3 from the 3 sections. Even when the 3 of them worked together, they still couldn't gain an advantage against Li Fuchen. This Li Fuchen was just too insane. Without any sound or presence, a figure appeared behind Li Fuchen. A sharp dagger that was emitting a black light stabbed at the back of Li Fuchen's neck. This was a Spirit Hidden Sect's disciple. His ability was ranked top 5 in the Spirit Hidden Sect. After progressing to the 1st level of the Earth Realm, he was able to assassinate martial artists who were much stronger than him. As long as he could land a hit, no matter how strong Li Fuchen was, he would still be in deep trouble. Ghost Girl Yi Hua sneered. If she could assassinate Li Fuchen, she would have done it a long time ago. Li Fuchen's spirit will was extremely strong. In order to assassinate him, it would at least require Duan Muyo or Jiang Xiaomao. Before the dagger could even get within an inch of Li Fuchen, a sword pierced through the throat of this Spirit Hidden Sect disciple. The sword protruded from Li Fuchen's right shoulder. At the crucial moment, Li Fuchen lifted his right hand and thrusted the black gold sword behind him. In a split second, he killed his opponent, as though he had eyes on the back of his head. Drawing his sword, Li Fuchen didn't even look at his opponent and scanned the crowd. There were a lot of people, 10 in total. Come! 1 against 10, Li Fuchen didn't have any fear. I black-white twin ghosts will fight you. The black fiend's weapon was a pitch-black stick, while the white fiend's weapon was a white chain. The 2 of them attacked Li Fuchen from the left and right. It could be seen that the black and white double ghosts were very good at joint attacks. The black ghost's attacks were masculine and domineering, while the white ghost's attacks were soft and flexible, silent. The 2 of them complemented each other, and their attacks were like an inescapable net, airtight. Get lost. With a shake of the black gold sword in Li Fuchen's hand, countless meteor sword chi burst forth. Ding ding dang dang, poochie. The twin ghosts of black and white returned the way they had come. Moreover, they were covered in wounds, and the sword marks on their bodies were hideous. Damn it, how can he be so strong? He Sha looked down at his bloody chest with a gloomy face. Bai Sha could hardly lift his left arm. A sword chi cut a meridian on his left arm. Everyone, let's attack together. I don't believe that he alone can fight against the 10 of us. Blood Saber Ling Huang's injuries had already recovered. When he saw how dominant Li Fuchen was, he felt a chill in his heart and yelled out. Kill. At this moment, everyone couldn't be bothered about their reputation anymore. They had to kill Li Fuchen first. But Li Fuchen wasn't so foolish to stand still and clash with the 10 of them. His figure shuttled back and forth. Each time, only 2 or 3 people could exchange moves with him. It was impossible for them to work together. Swish. Activating the divine movement leg, the scenery on both sides suddenly became a blur. Li Fuchen instantly appeared in front of a Spirit Hidden Sect disciple and slashed across his neck. A large head soared into the sky. Blood spurted out like a fountain, several meters high. It was a spectacular sight. Hee, don't think you can leave so easily after killing my spirit-hidden sect's disciple. The spirit child, Jiang Xiaomao, was a dwarf. His movements were much more agile than the rest. Just as Li Fuchen severed the spirit-hidden sect's disciple's head, Jiang Xiaomao scuttled out from behind the disciple. With a magistrate brush, he aimed for Li Fuchen's heart. Just you? Get lost. Li Fuchen raised his leg and sent his opponent flying with a kick. Shadowless leg, traceless. Even though Li Fuchen hadn't reached the trance stage and comprehended the shadowless intent, the leg was still a part of the human body. The speed of Li Fuchen's leg wasn't any slower than a sword. Jiang Xiaomao flew through the air and vomited a mouthful of fresh blood with a shocked expression. How could this person's sword arts and leg arts be so incredible? Look at me. It was unknown when Ghost Girl Yi Hua appeared in front of Li Fuchen. Her eyes seemed to have a whirlpool that wanted to devour Li Fuchen's spirit will. Eyes shooting out a blue and green glow, Li Fuchen let out a cold snort. The two of them didn't even exchange blows, but Ghost Girl Yi Hua vomited a mouthful of fresh blood. This was the backlash of the illusion technique. His spirit will is too strong. Retreat first. Ghost Girl Yi Hua was equally shocked. She realized that she had underestimated Li Fuchen's spirit will. Her illusion technique couldn't even shake his spirit will. Mad Demon 28/ Ghost Shadow Palm style. Blood Dragon Spear style. Taking advantage of this short window, the three strongest disciples from the three sects rushed over and joined forces to execute a move against Li Fuchen. A pity that Li Fuchen had already adjusted his chi flow and executed the Meteor Rain sword to neutralize their combined attack. He only took 3 steps back. Is this guy still human? The violent saber sect's Xianxia didn't interfere at all. He had the intention to retreat and look towards the cave from time to time. He intended to eliminate those in the cave first. Wanna go in? Activating the divine movement leg again, Li Fuchen appeared at the side of Xianxia and slashed with his sword. With the Scarlet Fire intent and Meteor Sword intent bursting out, Xianxia was like a sack that was sent flying. He laid on the ground and couldn't get up. It was unknown if he was dead or alive. The battle was getting more and more intense. After an hour, Li Fuchen didn't suffer any injuries, but his opponents were all injured. They were all gritting their teeth but couldn't do anything. Who would have known that Li Fuchen, who was at the 9th level of the Origin Realm, would be this strong? It was fine if he was strong, but the crucial point was that his senses were too sharp. They didn't even have the chance to surround him. Li Fuchen's leg secret technique was extremely fast. Even though they were unwilling, but everyone knew that if this carried on, they would lose their combat strength one by one. And it was impossible to exhaust Li Fuchen's chi. Li Fuchen had a large amount of chi returning pills on him. In order to exhaust Li Fuchen's chi, it would take at least 1 hour. Let's go. Li Wushue's tone was filled with resentment. Swish, swish, swish. As the figures retreated, Ling Huang carried Xianxia and left quickly. The last to leave was Mad Saber Duanhai. He let out a mournful roar towards the sky. Li Fuchen didn't stop them. He stood in place and quietly watched them leave. Chapter 158. With a large amount of mystic class herbs, Lu Wuhuang, Xiao Laibi, and the others recovered quickly. After 2 hours, they were almost fully recovered. Seeing Li Fuchen walk in, Xiao Laibi was the first to open his eyes. Li Shidi, where are they? They all left. Li Fuchen replied. They all left? Xiao Laibi was flabbergasted. How did they leave? Needless to say, he wasn't a fool. If the disciples of the 3 sects weren't beaten up, they wouldn't have left. It was obvious that Li Fuchen used his own strength to repel the disciples of the 3 sections. Lu Wuhuang and Yuan Tian opened their eyes with a complicated expression. It didn't matter if they admitted it or not, Li Fuchen had already left them far behind. Of course, it was impossible to convince the two of them. The path of the martial Dao had just begun. The one who had the last laugh would be the winner. Exiting the cave, the 5 of them continued to search for herbs. The earth-shattering fruit could not only help a 9th-level origin realm martial artist break through to the 1st level of the earth realm, it could also help a 1st-level earth realm martial artist break through to the 2nd level. In short, the more the better, no one would complain about having too many. With 8 storage bags, Li Fuchen didn't have to worry about not being able to store all the herbs. As long as it was a yellow class, high tier and above herb, Li Fuchen wouldn't let it go. As for the others, Xiao Libi and Lu Wuhuang each had 2 storage bags. Chen Fanghua originally only had 1, but Li Fuchen gave Lu Xiaofei's storage bag to Chen Fanghua. A pity that it had the Tsang Lan sect's insignia on it. After leaving the 100 Herbs hidden domain, both of them had to be handed over. Among the 5 of them, only Yuan Tian only had 1 storage bag. Beside a small river, Xiao Libi found a stalk of origin return herb. Yuan Shidi, for you. Xiao Libi passed the origin return herb to Yuan Tian. Thank you, Xiao Shixiang. Yuan Tian was overjoyed. His cultivation level was too low. Even Li Fuchen, who was originally at the 7th level of the origin realm, had surpassed him. This made him extremely depressed. With the 4 of them around, Yuan Tian couldn't be bothered anymore. He sat down and began refining the origin return herb. After 2 hours, Yuan Tian's cultivation had officially broken through to the 9th level of the origin realm. He just needed 1 more earth-shattering fruit and he would be able to become a 1st-level earth realm martial artist. Of course, the earth-shattering fruit was 10 times more precious than the origin returning grass. Up until now, only Chen Fanghua had consumed the earth-shattering fruit. The others had suppressed their cultivation level outside the 100 Herbs hidden ground. After entering, they naturally broke through, and it had nothing to do with the earth-shattering fruit. The 100 Herbs secret realm has a circumference of 200 miles. There must be quite a number of origin return grass and earth-shattering fruits. Li Fuchen wasn't thinking about himself, but his parents. If he could bring back a batch of origin return herbs, it would allow his parents to progress to the 9th level of the origin realm. Boom! Just as Li Fuchen was thinking, a few dozen miles away, there was suddenly a spirit chi pillar that soared into the sky. This pillar of spiritual energy was so huge that it could be clearly seen from dozens of miles away. The core region of the pocket dimension. Someone has found the core region of the pocket dimension. Xiao Bieli exclaimed. In the mystic realm, the heaven and earth spiritual chi was dense. In the core area of the mystic realm, the heaven and earth spiritual chi was several times denser. There, even more precious herbs would appear. In the past few decades, only 1 or 2 people managed to open the core area of the secret realm. It wasn't something that could be found every time. Come, let's head over. Li Fuchen's mind moved as he raised his chi and flew. The spirit chi pillar was too huge. As long as one was within the 100 Herbs secret realm, they would be able to see it. I must be the first to enter the core region of the secret realm. If I can obtain an earth-shattering fruit, my cultivation will be able to break through to the 2nd level of the earth realm. By then, I will still be able to defeat Li Fuchen. The earth realm was the 3rd major realm of the martial Dao. The difference between each minor realm was much bigger than the origin realm. Li Wuxia was desperate to kill Li Fuchen. If he didn't kill Li Fuchen, he wouldn't be able to rest easy. Everyone else had the same thoughts. All of them wanted to obtain an earth-shattering fruit. The core region of the secret realm was a cluster of ancient buildings. These buildings were all built with giant boulders and were filled with a mottled and vicissitude chi presence. At the corner of the cluster of buildings was a small-scale herb garden. Yan Qingwu's figure was seated on a giant boulder, her chi presence fluctuating. Not knowing how much time had passed, the sky above the herb garden was filled with a tidal wave of heaven and earth energy. It formed a spirit chi tornado and poured into Yan Qingwu's body. Yan Qingwu's chi presence rose steadily. Her clothes and long hair danced without any wind, elegant and sharp. Swish! Opening her eyes, there was a flash of chilling light in her beautiful eyes. So this is the 1st level of the earth realm? Yan Qingwu drew her black curved saber and cleaved. A giant boulder nearby was cleaved into 2 cleanly. The remnant saber chi flowed out and split open the ground. But soon enough, the giant boulder merged back into one and the ground quickly mended. In the blink of the eye, it was as though nothing had happened. Yan Qingwu was already used to it. The 100 Herbs hidden domain had the ability to automatically regenerate. And in the core region of the secret realm, the regenerative ability was increased by 10-folds. Someone is here? Yan Qingwu looked at the entrance of the nearby buildings. So it is Qingwu Shimi. You have also progressed to the first level of the Earth realm? The leader was obviously Li Wuxia. Seeing Yan Qingwu, the eyes of the Violent Saber sect and Spirit Hidden sect disciples all flashed with killing intent. As compared to Li Fuchen, they wanted to kill Yan Qingwu more. Because killing Yan Qingwu would result in great rewards from the sect. As for Li Fuchen, even though his ability was high now, but according to the information from the sect scouts, he was just a normal bone frame. Who knows when he might lose his brilliance? But Yan Qingwu was a 6-star bone frame. As long as she didn't die prematurely, she would become a threat sooner or later. Of course, if the two of them could be killed, that would be the best. Now is not the time to fall out. Let's wait until the last day. Duanmuo thought to himself. On the other side of the buildings, Li Fuchen and the others rushed over. Is there someone living here? Looking at the densely packed stone buildings, Chen Fanghua couldn't help but ask. Xiao Libi said, legend has it that some people with exceptional ability would occupy a hidden domain as their own. Perhaps, this 100 Herbs hidden domain used to be the residence of an absolute master. Li Fuchen nodded. He had seen similar records before. Some of the absolute masters were unimaginable. Calling the wind and summoning the rain, flying in the sky and burrowing into the ground, creating all living things out of thin air. To these absolute masters, all of these were just minor tricks. Legend has it that the giant hand basin in the 100 Battle region was created by a single palm strike from an absolute master. Of course, records were just records. As for whether it was true or not, no one knew. In this boundless land, the reincarnation realm was already the highest existence. No one had ever seen an expert of a higher realm. Perhaps only after reaching the reincarnation realm would one have some understanding of the higher realms. Chapter 159. The stone buildings extended in all directions, like a maze. Li Fuchen and the others entered for a short while and realized they couldn't find the way they came from. What's more, within the stone buildings, they weren't able to jump too high. Once they exceeded 2 meters, there would be an invisible force pressing down on them. These stone buildings sure are peculiar. No wonder it is the residence of an absolute master. Chen Fanghua muttered. She had already determined that these stone buildings were the manor of the absolute master and the entire hidden domain was his territory. But with the passage of time, this absolute master was nowhere to be found. Walking on the stone-paved path, Li Fuchen extended his hand and sucked a stalk of herb that was growing in the cracks of the stones into his hand. This was obviously a stalk of yellow class, peak-tier herb. But in this place, it was just like a weed, growing casually. On the sides of the path, on the walls, in the gutters, there were plenty of herbs growing. Most of them were yellow class, high tier or peak tier, with the occasional mystic class, low tier herb. We don't understand the world of absolute masters. Xiao Libi shook his head. Be it inside or outside of the stone buildings, the herbs were like cabbages. They were excited at the start, but now they were used to it. Perhaps only the origin return grass, earth-shattering fruit, and mystic class, high tier and above herbs could excite them. After an hour, the 5 of them finally walked out of the road and arrived at a spacious courtyard. On the west side of the courtyard, there was a small herb garden. That is, the earth-shattering fruit? Yuan Tian pointed at the center of the herb garden, his body trembling with excitement. Everyone looked over and saw a circle of giant rocks surrounding the herb garden. There were over 20 stalks of mystic class herbs, and 3 of them were earth-shattering fruits. 3 of them appearing at once, it feels unreal. Xiao Libi was shocked. Chen Fanghua said, I think we need to have a rule of distribution. If not, it would be a huge loss for Li Shidi. For the 5 of them to survive until now, Li Fuchen contributed the most. Xiao Libi nodded. Chen Shimi is right. How about this? Li Shidi will take half of the precious herbs we discovered together. The four of us will split the remaining half. Anyone can voice out their opinions. Lu Wuhuang and Yuan Tian's eyes flashed with a trace of dissatisfaction, but the two of them didn't say anything. Even though it was a suggestion, it was definitely the majority. Xiao Libi and Chen Fanghua would definitely support Li Fuchen. Since no one has any objections, we shall proceed as such. Li Shidi, what do you think? Xiao Libi looked at Li Fuchen. Li Fuchen replied, not bad. He wasn't stupid enough to reject it. This was what he deserved. Other than the 3 earth-shattering fruits, there were also 4 origin return grass and some other low and mid-grade profound rank herbs. Li Fuchen said, I want 1 stalk of earth-shattering fruit and all the other herbs. As for the remaining 2 stalks of earth-shattering fruits, you guys can discuss how to split them. In terms of value, the value of an earth-shattering fruit was comparable to all other medicinal herbs. The reason why he didn't want the earth-shattering fruit was mainly because he wanted the others to increase their strength. After all, there would definitely be fierce battles ahead. Moreover, there should be more earth-shattering fruits in the cluster of buildings. I want an earth-shattering fruit. I can have a smaller share of the following rewards. Yuan Tian desperately wanted to increase his cultivation to the 1st level of the Earth realm. I want one too. Lu Wuhuang continued. Xiao Libi nodded, sure. These 2 earth-shattering fruits shall be given to the 2 of you first. Yuan Tian's cultivation was too low and deserved an earth-shattering fruit. But Lu Wuhuang was an expert who was just inferior to Li Fuchen. If he could progress to the 2nd level of the Earth realm, he would be a force to be reckoned with. Just like this, the distribution of the herbs in the small-sized herb garden was completed. Keeping all the herbs apart from the earth-shattering fruit, Li Fuchen sat cross-legged. Yuan Tian followed suit and sat cross-legged. As for Lu Wuhuang, Xiao Libi and Chen Fanghua, they were to protect the 2 of them. After circulating the Scarlet Mystic Flame technique for a dozen times, Li Fuchen consumed the earth-shattering fruit. The earth-shattering fruit was indeed the earth-shattering fruit. The nourishing effect of the spirit was a few folds better than the origin return grass. As the medicinal effects dispersed, Li Fuchen felt his mind was clear and didn't feel restless at all. 15 minutes passed. 1 hour passed. 2 hours passed. The sky gradually darkened. In the evening, Yuan Tian was the first to break through. An astounding spirit chi tornado gathered towards Yuan Tian. Yuan Tian's chi presence had a qualitative change and was emitting a subtle pressure. But in the next moment, an even more astounding spirit chi tornado appeared. It was Li Fuchen who broke through. Such a horrifying spirit chi wave. Xiao Libi and the others were shocked. When they broke through to the 1st level of the Earth realm, the commotion wasn't comparable to Li Fuchen. The 3 of them could sense a spirit chi tornado that was a few folds larger than Yuan Tian's. It was forming above Li Fuchen like a giant funnel. As the spirit chi tornado appeared, Yuan Tian's spirit chi tornado trembled, as though it was going to collapse at any moment. Yuan Tian obviously felt a trace of abnormality and quickly devoured the spirit chi tornado into his body. Pitter-patter. A strange sound came from within his body. Yuan Tian's chi presence rushed into the sky and spread in all directions. Earth realm martial artists were able to use their chi presence to suppress their enemies. If their chi presence was strong enough, it was enough to immobilize an origin realm martial artist. Gradually opening his eyes, Yuan Tian had a flash of delight on his face. The 1st level of the Earth realm was too formidable. With his senses, he could vaguely feel the flow of energy in the surroundings. It was a mystical feeling of being in control of everything in the surroundings. But soon enough, the delight on Yuan Tian's face vanished. From his senses, the spirit chi tornado above Li Fuchen was too massive. It was like a monster, constantly devouring the surrounding heaven and earth spirit chi. With the spirit chi tornado pouring into his body, Li Fuchen's body seemed to have expanded by 1-fold. Countless popping sounds could be heard from within his body. At the same time, a horrific chi presence was emitted. Even though the 4 of them were 1st-level Earth realm martial artists, they still felt uneasy. It was as though their bodies had become several folds heavier. No wonder he is at the earth realm. Even if I close my eyes, I can still see the presence of others. With his spirit sense, Li Fuchen could clearly feel the direction of the heaven and earth energy flow. He could also feel the chi waves within the bodies of the four. They were like four dazzling torches. Congratulations to the two of you for progressing to the earth realm. Xiao Libi laughed. As Li Fuchen progressed to the first level of the earth realm, the last trace of worry in his heart vanished. Li Shidi, what is your current ability level? Chen Fenghua asked curiously. Li Fuchen replied, a single blade. I can kill anyone. Breaking through from the 9th level of the origin realm to the first level of the earth realm didn't just increase one's basic ability by a few folds, it was at least doubled. As for the exact amount, Li Fuchen wasn't able to determine for now. After all, he had just broken through and it was an entire realm. Incredible! Chen Fenghua's eyes lit up. Lu Shidi, you can break through now. With Li Shidi protecting you, you don't have to worry. Xiao Libi said to Lu Wuhuang. Chapter 160. The commotion caused by Lu Wuhuang breaking through to the second level of the earth realm was obviously incomparable to the commotion caused by Li Fuchen breaking through to the first level of the earth realm. If the spirit chi tornado produced by Li Fuchen's breakthrough was a giant dragon, then the spirit chi tornado produced by Lu Wuhuang's breakthrough was just a giant python. The difference wasn't small. Despite the case, a second level of the earth realm was still the second level of the earth realm. His chi presence was powerful like a tornado, giving Xiao Libi, Chen Fenghua, and Yuan Tian a huge amount of pressure. With the strength of the five of us, we should be able to fight against the three sections. Xiao Libi was very happy. Previously, Li Fuchen was the only one who could fight against the disciples of the three sections. They couldn't even interfere, which made him feel extremely frustrated. After all, it didn't feel good to be protected by others. The stone building complex was huge, and the five of them continued to go deeper. Cuckoo, I am finally at the second level of the earth realm. This is the second level of the earth realm? In the depths of the stone buildings, there was a mid-sized herb garden. Li Wuxia, Duan Hai, and Duan Muyo had all broken through to the second level of the earth realm. Three massive chi pressuring soared into the sky, and within a radius of a few hundred meters, everyone found it hard to even breathe. Seems like the heavens are still looking out for us. We actually found a medium-sized herb garden and found a total of 6 earth-shattering fruits. Duan Muyu chuckled. Right now, each of us can defeat Li Fuchen with ease. With the three of us working together, we can turn him into ashes in a single move. Li Wuxia spoke in a cold tone. The feeling of being powerful was too wonderful, and controlling the life and death of others was even more wonderful. Duan Hai did not say anything. However, the killing intent emitted from his body was more convincing than any words. It was obvious that Li Fuchen's existence caused a huge fluctuation in his emotions. All right, we've already broken through. It's your turn now, Li Wuxia said to the Black Fiend, Ling Huang and Jiang Xiaomao. There were a total of 6 earth-shattering fruits, 2 for each of the 3 sections. Only Yan Qingwu, White Demon and Ghost Girl Yi Hua didn't get any. Yan Qingwu had already discovered a small herb garden previously, so she should have some earth-shattering fruits on her. Meanwhile, White Demon and Ghost Girl Yi Hua had to wait for a while. All right. Black Fiend, Ling Huang, and Jiang Xiaomao couldn't wait to sit down cross-legged. After a dozen cycles, they swallowed the earth-shattering fruit. The night grew darker and the stars dimmed. Li Fuchen's group of 5 continued to venture deeper into the stone structures, hoping to find a second herb garden. After an unknown amount of time, several miles to the east, a heart-palpitating wave of yuan qi suddenly came. Someone is breaking through. Chen Fenghua frowned. It should be Li Wuxia and the others. Xiao Bieli frowned as well. As their strength increased, their opponents might be improving as well. It was just that they didn't know how many of their opponents had broken through to the second level of the earth realm. If too many of them advanced to the second level of the earth realm, then everything would be back to square one. We have to hurry up and find the second herb garden, Lu Wuhuang said. Li Fuchen nodded. In the 100 herbs hidden domain, it was too easy to advance. Just one stalk of herb was enough to easily advance. Now that he was in the core region of the hidden domain, it was even easier to advance. Fortunately, the earth-shattering fruit couldn't be consumed consecutively. Consuming the second fruit in succession would greatly reduce the medicinal effects. Consuming the third fruit would only have about 10% of the medicinal effects of the first fruit. In short, the further one consumed, the weaker the medicinal effects would be. After the third fruit, there would be no effect at all. Otherwise, as long as he had 8 or 10 earth-shattering fruits, he would be able to easily progress to the 9th level of the earth realm. In the medium-sized herb garden, Ling Huang and the other two awakened from their advancement states. The three of them had an extremely formidable qi presence. Their eyes were either sharp like a blade, threatening with baleful qi, or strange and sinister. Compared to 2 hours ago, they were completely different. Li Fuchen, wash your neck and wait for me. The black fiend laughed heartily. Ling Huang said, once he appears, I will immediately let him have a taste of being sliced into pieces. Leave that Azure Water sect female disciple to me. She has soft and tender skin and should be fun to play with. After killing her, I can even make her into a human skin doll. Jiang Xiaomao had a perverted look in his eyes. On the ground not far away, Yan Qinggu, who was meditating, frowned. This wasn't the first time she heard these people mentioning Li Fuchen. In less than half a year's time, your ability seems to have increased by quite a bit. Yan Qinggu thought in her heart. As dawn approached the next day, Li Fuchen and his group finally found the second herb garden. In this herb garden, there were only 2 stalks of earth-shattering fruit. But it was fortunate that only Xiao Libi and Chen Fanghua didn't get any earth-shattering fruits. As for the other herbs in the herb garden, they naturally belonged to Li Fuchen. I have already consumed an earth-shattering fruit. This earth-shattering fruit probably won't have much of an effect. Chen Fanghua gave up on consuming the earth-shattering fruit and handed it over to Li Fuchen. Li Fuchen said, after consuming this earth-shattering fruit, you will have a 10% chance of progressing to the second level of the earth realm. Chen Fanghua shook her head. 10% chance is too little. If you don't mind me dragging you down, I am already satisfied with being at the first level of the earth realm. Of course I won't mind. With me around, everything will be at ease. Li Fuchen kept the earth-shattering fruit and took out an empty storage bag. He handed it over to Chen Fanghua. This storage bag is for you. All the storage bags with the Azure Water sect's insignia had to be handed over. As for the storage bags without the Azure Water sect's insignia, they would naturally belong to him. Then I shall not stand on ceremony. Chen Fanghua's face revealed a smile. A storage bag was too important to a martial artist. When going out, they always needed to bring some necessities. Without a storage bag, it would be very inconvenient. But with a storage bag, all problems would be easily solved. In the auctions in the outside world, whenever a storage bag appeared, there would be a mad scramble for it. The price would usually reach up to a few 100,000 gold coins. Most of the time, it wasn't possible to buy it even if you had the gold coins. After all, those who were fighting for the storage bags all had some sort of background. 2 hours later, Xiao Libi successfully progressed to the second level of the earth realm. It was obvious that Xiao Libi was extremely excited. It was no wonder. For an earth realm martial artist, each level was harder than the previous. With his 4-star bone frame, if he cultivated normally, he would need at least 1 or 2 years to progress to the second level of the earth realm. But now, he was able to advance with ease, saving a huge amount of time. In the past, it wasn't every batch that could discover the core of the hidden domain. It was already a great fortune for 1 or 2 individuals to obtain something like the earth-shattering fruit. As the first rays of the morning sun shone on the land, the 5 of them continued their journey and gradually went deeper into the stone structures. Such a pity. This should be a large-scale herb garden, but there isn't a single stalk of herb here. Looking at the empty large-scale herb garden, the 5 of them had a regretful expression. Li Fuchen said, high-grade herbs require a lot of time to grow. Maybe a long time ago, the 4 sect disciples harvested all the herbs here. Until now, they still haven't grown. After the herbs were harvested, they would more or less leave traces of tiny roots underground. After countless years, these roots would germinate and grow into herbs. The higher the grade of the herb, the longer the time needed to grow. According to records, some of the Earth-class herbs would require a few hundred years or even 1,000 years to grow. But the legendary Heaven-class herbs would require thousands or even tens of thousands of years to mature. Xiao Libi nodded. Li Shidi is right. Chapter 161. This group of people were the disciples of the three sects, led by Li Wuxia, Duanhai and Duanmuo. Yan Qingwu was among them. Seeing that 6 out of the 9 had progressed to the second level of the Earth realm, Xiao Libi and the others had an unpleasant expression. They thought that there would at most be 2 or 3 who progressed to the second level of the Earth realm. They didn't expect there to be 6. Other than that, the other 4 who were at the first level of the Earth realm weren't easy to deal with either. Yan Qingwu, White Fiend, Yihua and Shinfeihe. Any one of them was not much weaker than Xiao Libi. They were obviously much stronger than Yuan Tian and Chen Fanghua. This group of fellows is really a roadblock. Xiao Libi laughed bitterly. He had thought that they were lucky, but the other party was even luckier. Li Wuxia and the others had a stern expression. Their eyes swept across Lu Wuhuang and Xiao Libi and were slightly surprised. But they didn't pay much attention as they were only at the second level of the Earth realm. Among them, only Lu Wuhuang had some capability. That Xiao Libi was undoubtedly lacking. But when their eyes landed on Li Fuchen, all of their expressions turned gloomy. Li Fuchen had actually advanced to the first level of the Earth realm. When he was at the 9th level of the Origin realm, he was already able to fight against all of them. Now that he had progressed to the first level of the Earth realm, wouldn't he be heaven-defying? Damn it. Li Wuxia roared in his heart. Li Fuchen swept a cold glance at the 10 of them and said indifferently, "Get lost before I change my mind." Among everyone present, only Li Fuchen had the confidence to challenge all 3 sections. Clang. A demonic killing intent radiated from Duanhai's body as he quickly drew his 100-battle saber. So what if he advanced to the first level of the Earth realm? We have 6 second-level Earth realm and 4 first-level Earth realm here. Blood Saber Ling Huang growled. Hearing this, the others were somewhat tempted. Indeed, they had 6 second-level Earth realm martial artists here. If they were to retreat without a fight, it would be a huge disgrace. Even if they were to kill Li Fuchen in the future, it would leave a shadow in their hearts. Hand over all the storage bags and I can spare your lives. Heisha grinned. I want that woman too. Jiang Xiaomao licked his lips and stared at Chen Fanghua. Hearing this, Xiao Libi and the other 3 drew their dark gold swords and unleashed their auras. Looks like you guys aren't going to follow my instructions. Li Wuxia was the first to unleash his aura, followed closely by the rest of the disciples from the 3 sections. Only Yan Qingwu seemed to want to keep to herself, standing far away. She disdained to bully with numbers. If she wanted to defeat Li Fuchen, she would do it fair and square. Under the eruption of more than 10 auras, the courtyard swayed in the wind and rain, and even space itself seemed to distort. Of course, it was impossible for space to truly distort. What was being twisted was everyone's willpower. After all, one's aura also contained one's spirit will. As their wills pressed against each other, the scene in everyone's vision began to distort. Under the pressure of the 9 auras, Xiao Libi and the other 3 found it hard to breathe. If they were to fight for real, it would be good if they could unleash 70% to 80% of their strength. Standing in the middle of the chi presences from the 2 camps, Li Fuchen didn't feel anything. It was as though these chi presences were just fleeting clouds that couldn't shake his spirit will at all. What a bunch of people who don't know the difference between life and death. Since that's the case, I have no more reservations. Since you all want to die, I'll grant you your wish. The mystical dragon secret technique was activated, and the mysterious phenomenon of the cultivation technique appeared. An aura that felt like heavenly might soared into the sky. What kind of aura was this? Under the suppression of this aura, the 13 auras were like a group of old and weak people, like shivering children, all of them wilting. In the blink of the eye, the entire courtyard felt as though it was in an inferno hell. Everyone felt their bodies heating up. Xiao Libi and the others were fine as Li Fuchen's qi presence didn't intentionally target them. However, Li Wushue's group of 9 felt their mouths go dry and their skin burn terribly. This was especially so for White Fiend and Xianxia. Their cultivation levels were the lowest, and blisters had even appeared on their bodies. This was an involuntary reaction from their bodies after their minds and wills were distorted. To a certain extent, this was already an illusion. It was just that it was a more barbaric illusion. There was no technique to speak of, and it purely relied on one's powerful willpower and aura to suppress the other party. What a terrifying aura! Ghost Girl Yi Hua's cultivation might be at the first level of the Earth realm, but she was proficient in illusion arts. Therefore, she wasn't affected too much. But when she saw how the others reacted, her heart couldn't help but shiver. Die! Li Fuchen didn't even need to draw his sword, he just used a palm strike. With a palm strike, a dazzling wave of qi rushed out. Mystic level low-tier palm art, iron smelting hand. Bang bang. Among the group, the weakest White Fiend and Xianxia were charred black and flew out. Run! Li Wuxia and the others were appalled as they frantically escaped from the courtyard. Bang! With another palm strike from Li Fuchen, the spirit child Jiang Xiaomao was also killed. Why aren't you leaving? Li Fuchen didn't kill them all, but looked at Yan Qingwu who was at the corner of the courtyard. Yan Qingwu said, "You only killed 3 people. You did the right thing." Li Fuchen didn't say anything. Yan Qingwu continued, "If you had killed all the disciples from the 3 sects, the Azure Water sect wouldn't be able to protect you. Especially Li Wuxia, he is my Heaven Fiend sect's young sect patriarch. If you killed him, the sect patriarch would definitely be enraged. By then, your Azure Water sect would most likely abandon you." "Aren't you afraid I will kill you?" Li Fuchen asked. "I might not be a match for you, but if I wish to leave, you won't be able to stop me." Yan Qingwu's figure flashed and multiple Yan Qingwu appeared at the same time, leaving the courtyard in different directions. Li Fuchen laughed but didn't make a move. If he were to make a move, he had a 50% chance of making her stay. But he didn't want to. Just like what Yan Qingwu said, he had a lot of concerns. Killing was great, but he had to bear the consequences of it. If he were to kill all the disciples from the 3 sects, the Azure Water sect would definitely face the wrath of the 3 sections. With the alliance of the 3 sects, there was a 90% chance that the Azure Water sect would hand him over. This was the way of the world. Whoever's fist was harder, the words of the person would be the truth. If not, no matter how logical it would just be a bunch of nonsense. The current him wasn't prepared to face the 3 sections. But there would be a day when he would be above these sections. There would be a day when he would do things according to his own will. Those who deserved to be killed, he would not let them off. If a person was in his way, he would kill a god. Golden Amulet, you have given me a different life. I will not let you down. Li Fuchen thought to himself. Within the soul spirit wrap, the golden amulet wiggled a little, as though it had a consciousness. Killed 3 people, Li Fuchen naturally got the storage pouch of these 3 people, a total of 7 storage pouch. As such, Li Fuchen now had a total of 14 storage bags. Li Shidi, you did the right thing. Luckily you didn't act rashly. Xiao Libi agreed with Li Fuchen's decision. Even though the 100 Herbs hidden domain didn't forbid killing and if one died, one could only blame themselves for not being strong enough, but it wasn't right to kill all of them. But to be honest, this year's batch was too special, with the appearance of the insane Li Fuchen. During Sword Maniac's batch, there were only 1 or 2 who could go against him. But Sword Maniac's ability was only at the peak and wasn't able to go on a killing spree. But Li Fuchen's ability was too strong and could easily kill everyone. He had already broken the balance of the 100 Herbs hidden domain. Even the Sword Maniac back then would have to bow down to Li Fuchen. Chapter 162. At the end of the 5th day, Li Fuchen obtained a total of 5 earth-shattering fruits and 24 stalks of origin return herbs. If used properly, 5 stalks of earth-shattering fruits could produce 5 Earth Realm martial artists. Even a 2-star bone frame would only have a 20% chance of progressing to the Earth realm. Of course, if one didn't cultivate a mystic class technique or didn't cultivate the mystic class technique to a high rank, it would be impossible to break through from the 9th level of the origin realm to the 1st level of the Earth realm. Under such circumstances, consuming the earth-shattering fruits would only be effective when one reached the limits of the origin realm. Father is a 1-star bone frame, mother is a normal bone frame. Within 3 years, I will make sure they become Earth realm martial artists. Li Fuchen knew the importance of ability. If his father was at the Earth realm, the Li clan's founder wouldn't dare to dismiss him. In a clan, the patriarch must have absolute ability. Only then can the entire clan be united and be cohesive. If not, the patriarch's words wouldn't hold any weight. There would still be the Elders Guild and the founder suppressing them. On the 6th day, the 5 of them arrived at the deepest part of the stone buildings. There was an incomparably gigantic herb garden here. Just this herb garden alone was comparable to all the herb gardens in front of them combined. Is that a herb? Chen Fanghua pointed to the center of the herb garden and asked with uncertainty. Everyone looked over and saw that the entire herb garden was barren. Only a stalk of herb grew in the middle. This stalk of herb was 2 chi tall, and its leaves were shaped like a human hand. The leaves were stacked on top of each other, supporting the fruits at the top. These fruits looked like grapes, and there were a total of 7 of them. Each of them was sparkling and translucent, emitting a faint 7-colored glow. This was already mystical enough. What was even more mystical was that this stalk of herb seemed to be breathing. As it breathed in and out, a shocking amount of spirit chi was being swallowed. What it exhaled was traces of black smoke, as though it was expelling impurities. This is an earth-class herb? Xiao Libi Li opened his mouth and only managed to speak after a long time. Among the 4 types of herbs, heaven, earth, profound and yellow-ranked herbs, yellow-ranked herbs were ordinary herbs, profound-ranked herbs already contained a trace of mystery, and earth-ranked herbs contain the mysteries of heaven and earth, containing all sorts of miraculous and inconceivable things. As for heaven-ranked herbs, they were legendary herbs that no one had ever seen before. This was because heaven-ranked herbs would never grow in the turbid lands of the secular world. The places where they grew were definitely places that were beyond the reach of the secular world, such as heaven-ranked secret realms or some mystical lands. Every heaven-tier herb was grown by gathering the essence of heaven and earth. It contained the rules of this world and could not be found by chance. It's the earth-class low-tier herb, the 7-color glazed grape. Li Fuchen's eyes lit up and his breathing got hurried. When he was at the Azure Water sect, when he had nothing to do, he would look for some books to read. One of them was an illustration of herbs, and on the last few pages, there was an illustration of the 7-color glazed grape. This herb could allow martial artists below the 3-star bone frame to directly upgrade their bone frame by 1 star. For example, a normal bone frame could be upgraded to a 1-star bone frame, a 1-star bone frame to a 2-star bone frame, or a 2-star bone frame to a 3-star bone frame. To Li Fuchen, as long as he could upgrade a normal bone frame to a 1-star bone frame, it would allow his cultivation speed to increase by quite a bit. His other qualities would also be slightly improved, and this was a permanent effect, which was more valuable than any other herb. 7-color glazed grape, huh? Lu Wuhuang and Yuan Tian had a flash of disappointment on their faces. The 7-color glazed grape might be an earth-class low-tier herb, but it could only upgrade bone frames that were below 3-star. It was useless to them and was even worse than chicken ribs. This herb isn't even fit to be an earth-class herb? Yuan Tian wasn't pleased. He thought it was some other earth-class herb. No matter what kind of earth-class herb it was, it should be of great use to him. Only this bone frame upgrade herb was useless. He was a 5-star bone frame after all. In order to upgrade his bone frame to a 6-star bone frame, he would need at least an earth-class high-tier or even a peak-tier herb. Xiao Libi replied, "You can't put it that way. Even though the 7-color glazed grape is useless to us, it is still able to change the bone frame of a martial artist below the 3-star bone frame. It has the effect of changing one's fate and is definitely worthy of the title of an earth-class herb." Changing one's bone frame was the same as changing one's fate. Even absolute masters couldn't do it, but a stalk of herb was able to do it. To say that it wasn't worthy of the title of an earth-class herb was an exaggeration. Li Shidi has a normal bone frame. This 7-color glazed grape shall belong to Li Shidi. Qin Fanghua said. Naturally. Xiao Libi didn't even bother asking for Lu Wuhuang and Yuan Tian's opinion. If they were to argue over this, it would mean that their character wasn't good. Taking a deep breath, Li Fuchen walked towards the 7-color glazed grape. Li Shidi, be careful. It is said that the earth-class herb will automatically attack anyone that approaches it. Xiao Libi reminded. Boom. Just as Xiao Libi finished his words, the 7-color glazed grape extended a hand-shaped leaf and slapped at Li Fuchen. A rainbow-colored radiance burst out and a rainbow palm print appeared out of nowhere. Seeing the situation, Li Fuchen countered with the iron-smelting hand. Li Fuchen took 3 steps back. Such a powerful chi force. Li Fuchen was shocked. This was just a stalk of herb, but the chi force it emitted actually exceeded his own. Clang. Drawing his black gold sword, Li Fuchen continued to advance. This time, Li Fuchen easily neutralized the 7-color glazed grape's palm print. But when Li Fuchen was 30 steps away from the 7-color glazed grape, a total of 10 hand-shaped leaves extended and slapped at Li Fuchen. With a sword in hand, Li Fuchen's combat ability surged. With the meteor sword intent and scarlet fire technique intent intertwined, he neutralized the 10 palm prints. 20 steps, all the hand-shaped leaves slammed a palm at Li Fuchen. There was an overwhelming rainbow palm print that left no place to escape or hide. If it was a regular first-level Earth Realm martial artist, let alone one, even if there were dozens of them, they would still be slapped to death by the overwhelming palm print. Break! Brandishing his black gold sword, countless meteor sword chi burst forth. In an instant, the entire area was filled with the sound of chi force explosions. It was extremely dazzling. 10 steps. Boom! A dazzling rainbow-colored radiance emitted and enveloped a radius of a few dozen meters. Within the radius of a few dozen meters, there was a huge increase in pressure. Even the ground sank by 3 inches. Fortunately, Li Fuchen's chi presence was equally terrifying. He forcefully withstood the rainbow-colored radiance and continued to advance. The rainbow-colored radiance seemed to have depleted the 7-color glazed grape's stored spirit chi. When Li Fuchen was 5 steps away from it, it stopped moving and was no different from a regular herb. No wonder it is an earth-class herb. Such mystical properties. Li Fuchen uprooted the 7-color glazed grape. Only by uprooting it could it be preserved for a longer period of time. If he only plucked the fruits, the energy would start to dissipate after a few days. Of course, there were still traces of roots underground. Perhaps after a few hundred years, a new 7-color glazed grape would grow. Li Shidi, it is still early. Why don't you consume one and see the effects? Xiao Libi suggested. All right. Chapter 163. The root bone was an innate quality. The stronger the innate quality, the faster the acquired development. The weaker one's innate qualities were, the harder one worked, the more limited one's achievements would be. Like the soul, the root bone was a person's most basic thing. Everything in the human body was constructed with the root bone as the foundation. After consuming a grape, Li Fuchen felt countless subtle electric currents shuttling through his body. Immediately after, he felt a pain that came from the depths of his source. The pain was indescribable and it felt as though the smallest particles in his body were being split apart. Fortunately, this pain only lasted for a moment. After a while, Li Fuchen regained consciousness and looked down. On the surface of his skin, there was a layer of black substance and a faint stench. Are these the impurities in the deepest part of my body? Li Fuchen was in deep thought. Junior brother Li, you're awake. Xiao Libi and the others looked over. Li Fuchen asked, how much time has passed? Qin Fanghua said, this is already the 7th morning. Is it the morning of the 7th day? Li Fuchen was appalled. He only felt that a moment had passed. Junior brother Li, how do you feel? Chen Fanghua was very curious. Clenching his fist, Li Fuchen said, I feel that my relationship with heaven and earth is getting closer. Xiao Libi nodded. The bone frame is the origin of a human, and it also contains the profundities of heaven and earth. It is normal for one to have a close relationship with heaven and earth. The higher the aptitude, the higher the compatibility with the heavenly Tao, and the higher the compatibility, the faster the cultivation and comprehension of martial arts would be. Hey, Junior Li, you are already so insane when you are just a normal bone frame. Now that you are a one-star bone frame, I wonder how insane you will be. Qin Fanghua sighed. Hearing this, Lu Wuhuang and Yuan Tian's faces changed. The two of them also realized this problem. A normal bone frame allowed Li Fuchen to surpass them. A one-star bone frame, they couldn't imagine. It was fortunate that the 7-color glazed grape could only be consumed once and wouldn't have any effect the second time. If Li Fuchen was to evolve to a 3-star bone frame, they wouldn't be able to survive and would have to live under Li Fuchen's shadow for the rest of their lives. There was a small river in the middle of the stone buildings. Li Fuchen went in to take a bath and change his clothes. Before the 5 of them could walk out of the stone building complex, the mystic realm was about to close. A 5-colored door of light appeared in front of the 5 of them. What a wondrous trip to the secret zone. It feels like a dream. Staring at the 5-colored door of light, Xiao Bieli still felt like everything was surreal. Li Fuchen said, This is our fated encounter. It might be a dream, but it truly exists. Yes, this is fate. Xiao Libi nodded. Get out. Chen Fanghua was the first to enter the colorful door. Immediately after, Li Fuchen and the others followed in. Looking at the time, they should be coming out soon. You just wait to hand over the gold coins with both hands. Heaven Fiend's sect Great Elder Wei Yiping laughed heartily. He was very confident in Heaven Fiend's sect's Heaven's Pride. In terms of numbers, their Heaven Fiend's sect had 13 people. In terms of strength, Li Wuxia, the Black-White Double Ghosts, and the Clawed Ghost Jing Xian were all top-notch. Even Yan Qingwu was extremely strong. If not for her young age, she would definitely be able to defeat everyone from the 3 sections. Therefore, no matter what, it was impossible for the Heaven Fiend sect to lose. That might not be the case. Our Spirit-Hidden sect's survival ability isn't something to be trifled with. The Spirit-Hidden sect's old hag sneered and was similarly confident. Presumptuous. I'm afraid your Heaven Fiend sect's disciples have already been slaughtered by my Violent Saber sect's Mad Saber Duan Hai. Violent Saber sect Grand Elder Hao Lianhu crossed his arms and had a confident look. Among the 4 of them, only Zhao Wujin had some worries. From the information, this year's hidden domain opening, the Azure Water sect's disciples were undoubtedly the weakest among the 4 sections. He no longer had any hopes of winning this gamble. He only hoped for a few more Azure Water sect disciples to survive. In fact, he was pessimistically thinking that it would be good if 2 or 3 of them could survive. After all, in previous years, half of the Azure Water sect's disciples would die. This year's hidden domain disciples were too strong. Li Fuchen, Lu Wuhuang, Yuan Tian. The 3 of you better survive. Zhao Wujin didn't care about the others. There were plenty of 4-star bone frames in the Azure Water sect. It didn't matter if a few died, but these 3 must not die. He had high hopes for Li Fuchen. Lu Wuhuang and Yuan Tian were both 5-star bone frames. Any one of them dying would be a huge loss. Time passed by quickly. Accompanied by a thick fog, the rainbow light gate that vanished 7 days ago reappeared. Seeing the scene, everyone held their breaths and looked over. There was anticipation, apprehension, and all sorts of emotions. The first to appear were the Violent Saber sect's disciples. 1 knew 3. Violent Saber sect, only 3 came out. Followed by Heaven Fiend sect. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Heaven Fiend sect, 5. Next was the Spirit-Hidden sect. The Spirit-Hidden sect was indeed a sect that excelled in sneak attacks and concealment. 5 came out. Finally came the Azure Water sect. 1, 2, 3, 4. When the number of people reached 4, Zhao Wujin grinned. Not bad, there were actually so many people who survived. 6. The Azure Water sect had a total of 6 survivors. The last one was obviously Chao Guang. He, who was still at the peak stage of the origin realm, had been hiding in a small mountain range for the past 7 days, silently harvesting herbs. This allowed him to escape with his life, while those who broke through to the earth realm died one by one. It could only be said that it was all fate. Seems like my Azure Water sect won. This old one thanks everyone. Zhao Wujin laughed heartily. Out of 10, 6 survived. This was definitely a miracle, a heavenly miracle. Among the 4 sects, his Azure Water sect's disciples were the weakest. Impossible. This is definitely impossible. Speak quickly. What happened? Wei Yiping was enraged as he questioned Black Fiend. His Heaven Fiend sect had 13 members, but only 5 were left. A total of 8 died, the most out of the 4 sections. This was undoubtedly a mockery. Similarly enraged was Hao Lianhu. His Violent Saber sect actually had the least number of survivors. This was unbearable. The Spirit Hidden sect's old hag started to question the Spirit Hidden sect's disciples. She needed to know what happened in the 100 Herbs hidden domain. Why did the weakest Azure Water sect have the most survivors? Black Fiend glared at Li Fuchen with hatred and spoke to Wei Yiping. Grand Elder, more than half of our Heaven Fiend sect's disciples died in the hands of Li Fuchen. This man is insane, even White Fiend was killed by him. Black Fiend and White Fiend were like brothers. White Fiend's death caused him to develop an endless hatred towards Li Fuchen. He swore that he would personally kill Li Fuchen and take revenge for White Fiend. On the other side, Blood Saber Ling Huang spoke to Hao Lianhu. More than half of our Violent Saber sect's disciples died in the hands of Li Fuchen, Shun Feihe too. More than 3 Spirit Hidden sect disciples died in his hands, including Jiang Shidi. Duan Muyo reported to the Spirit Hidden sect's Grand Elder. Witnessing everything, Zhao Wujin was dumbfounded. The reason why the 3 sects suffered such heavy casualties was because of Li Fuchen? A single person massacring 3 sects' disciples. Chapter 164. Fuchen, is what they said true? Zhao Wujin asked Li Fuchen. Li Fuchen nodded. There was nothing to hide as everyone knew about it. Seeing Li Fuchen nodding in acknowledgement, Zhao Wujin laughed. Ever since this old man became an elder of the Azure Water sect, I have never seen such a formidable disciple like you. Among those of the same generation, you are the uncrowned king. Perhaps you can only be found in the stronger sections. He decided that if Li Fuchen was unable to break through to the heaven realm due to the limitations of his bone frame, he would do his best to assist Li Fuchen in breaking through. Once Li Fuchen became a high-leveled heaven realm martial artist, he would definitely be a formidable opponent below the reincarnation realm. Grand Elder, will there be any trouble after I killed so many disciples from the 3 sects? Li Fuchen asked. Zhao Wujin replied, this year's situation is a little special. Since the establishment of our Azure Water sect, there has never been such a situation. But don't worry, as long as you didn't kill all the disciples from the 3 sects, the situation won't be too bad. At most, there will be some friction, but not a war between the 4 sections. If Li Fuchen had killed all the disciples from the 3 sects, or the Heaven Fiend sect's young sect master, Li Wuxia, the situation would definitely be out of control. But fortunately, it didn't happen. Li Fuchen, what a vicious kid. You actually killed so many of my Heaven Fiend sect's disciples. This old man will not forgive you. An extremely terrifying chi presence rushed into the sky. In the void, it was as though a black skeleton had appeared and was suppressing at Li Fuchen ruthlessly. Li Fuchen, you killed my Violent Saber sect's disciples. Now pay with your life. Violent Saber sect's Grand Elder, Hao Lianhu was enraged too. Within the overbearing chi presence, a fierce tiger roared towards the sky. Jiang Xiaomao is a rare prodigy of our Spirit Hidden sect. Sever your arms and I will let bygones be bygones. The Spirit Hidden sect's old hag's chi presence was like the night sky, covering the sun. You guys, don't go overboard. Zhao Wujin was enraged. A vast chi presence was released to go against the chi presences of the 3 Grand Elders. Zhao Wujin, your Azure Water sect cannot protect him. It is not too late to give up on him. Wei Yiping's eyes were filled with killing intent. Zhao Wujin sneered, "You guys sure are shameless. The 100 Herbs hidden domain doesn't forbid killing. If you die, it means you are useless. If everyone is like you, then shouldn't I settle the score with you guys for all the deaths of my Azure Water sect's disciples?" Hao Lianhu said, "The past is in the past. I, Hao Lianhu, only look at the present. Today, your Azure Water sect has to make him stay, or else don't blame me for being impolite." "Zhao Wujin, you can't protect him." The spirit-hidden sect's old hag's voice was fleeting. "These people are really shameless," Chen Fenghua said angrily. "In the 100 Herbs secret realm, if you didn't kill, others would. From the beginning to the end, it was always the 3 sects' disciples who were aggressive." Li Fuchen said indifferently, "The strong shall reign supreme. This is an unbreakable truth. They are just finding an excuse to eliminate me. The aura released by the Heavenly Dipper Realm Apex martial artist is too powerful. Even if more than 90% of the aura is blocked by Zhao Wei, the remaining 10% of the aura also makes Li Fuchen bear a lot of pressure." Looking at the Grand Elders of the 3 sects, Li Fuchen's eyes were deep. "Zhao Wujin, do you think you can stop the 3 of us by yourself? Get lost." Wei Yiping's black skeleton's chi presence suddenly rushed at Zhao Wujin's ocean chi presence. At the same time, Hao Lianhu's fierce tiger chi presence and the spirit-hidden sect's old hag's night curtain chi presence also suppressed the ocean chi presence. Zhao Wujin let out a long roar, like a whale taking in water. The ocean chi presence expanded violently, forcefully blocking the black skeleton chi presence, fierce tiger chi presence, and night curtain chi presence. "Your true Azure Water technique has broken through to the 19th rank?" Hao Lianhu was shocked. A mystic class, peak-tier technique was extremely difficult to cultivate. A majority of prodigies would be able to break through to the highest rank of a mystic class, mid-tier technique when they were at the Earth realm. But after changing to a mystic class, peak-tier technique, even if they were at the Heaven realm, most of them would be stuck at the 16th or 17th rank. As for the 18th rank, only a few from the various sects could reach it. Not to mention the 19th rank. So what if your true Azure Water technique has broken through to the 19th rank? A difference of 1 rank, do you think you can turn the tables? Wei Yiping laughed sinisterly. If it was a 1 versus 1, he might be fearful of Zhao Wujin. But if it was a 3 versus 1, even if Zhao Wujin had 3 heads and 6 arms, it would still be useless. "Zhao Wujin, don't be impulsive. This kid is just a normal bone frame. If you give him up, it won't be a loss to your Azure Water sect." The spirit-hidden sect's old hag's voice was like a poison, slowly corroding Zhao Wujin's spirit will. Zhao Wujin spoke sternly, "If I can't even protect a disciple, what face do I have to live in this world? Grand Spirit abides, activate." As Zhao Wujin's voice ended, the ocean chi presence expanded again, almost doubling in size. A majestic chi presence swept in all directions, creating waves on the 100 Herbs lake. It is the 4-star secret technique, Grand Spirit abides. Xiao Libi exclaimed. If a 3-star secret technique was a first-rate secret technique, then a 4-star secret technique would be an absolute secret technique in the Azure Water sect. It was extremely precious and correspondingly, once it was cultivated, it would allow the user to surpass levels and defeat enemies. Do you think you are the only one with a 4-star secret technique? 100 Ghost Night Walk, activate. Desolate Battle Chi, activate. Netherworld Mystic Shadow, activate. Within Wei Yiping's black skeleton chi presence, there were many more ghostly shadows. These ghostly shadows were constantly roaring and had a towering presence. The ghostly chi was dense, and if it wasn't for Zhao Wujin blocking, Li Fuchen's group would have been obliterated by the opponent's chi presence. After activating the 4-star secret technique, Hao Lianhu's body obviously expanded by 1-fold, reaching a height of over 2 meters. An extremely aggressive chi presence blended into the fierce tiger chi presence, causing the fierce tiger chi presence to transform into a giant beast chi presence. The giant beast roared towards the sky, as though it wanted to devour the sun and moon, bringing about endless fear. On the body of the spirit-hidden sect's old hag, an illusory figure appeared. This figure grinned, causing the night chi presence to expand once again. The spirit-hidden sect's old hag immediately hid within the darkness, and her figure could no longer be seen. The four chi presences clashed once again. In an instant, the sky changed color, violent winds blew, and thunder could be heard from the sky. Immediately after, bolts of lightning struck. When the four chi presences clashed, it actually caused a change in the sky. How terrifying was this? Under the envelopment of the four chi presences, the other inner sect elders could only protect their disciples. At this moment, they couldn't simply interfere. Not good, Grand Elder's chi presence can't hold on any longer. Xiao Libi's expression changed. In his vision, Zhao Wujin was constantly retreating. His majestic and imposing chi presence had weakened significantly. Wei Yiping, the three of you are too much. Since that is the case, I shall let you witness my Azure Water Sect's sect-defining secret technique, sect origin swords. Thousands of swords resonated. Around Zhao Wujin's body and in the sky, thousands of sword chi appeared out of nowhere. Once the sword chi appeared, it felt as though the entire heaven and earth was on the verge of shattering. The trio who were intentionally targeted by Zhao Wujin felt their chi presence being pierced through and felt a stinging pain on their bodies. Sect-defining secret technique, sect origin swords. Chapter 165. The reputation of the sect origin swords was too great. When mentioning the Azure Water sect, many experts' first thought would be the sect origin swords. The reason why the Azure Water sect was able to stand firmly in the Azure Water region for so many years was because of the sect origin swords. Within a radius of hundreds of thousands of miles, everyone agreed that the 10,000 swords returning to origin was the most powerful 5-star secret art. Back when the Azure Water sect's first sect patriarch established the sect, he relied on the sect origin swords to slaughter countless experts. Many of the people who had the same basic strength as him were instantly killed in a single move without any resistance. Every sect had their own trump card. Without a doubt, the sect origin swords was one of the Azure Water sect's trump cards. So this is the sect origin swords? Thousands of sword chi appeared at once, and every single sword chi seemed to be extremely powerful. It is completely different from an area of effect sword move. Li Fuchen had good eyesight. He could see that every single sword chi in the air had immense power. The dense sword chi felt like it was going to cut through the sky and pierce through the void. Don't even talk about facing the sect origin swords, just taking a look at it would cause one's scalp to go numb. But area of effect sword moves sacrificed lethality to increase the number of attacks. Take Li Fuchen's meteor rain for example. Every single sword chi's power was only 30% to 40% of the meteor fall sword move. No matter what Li Fuchen's future cultivation level was, 30% to 40% would be his limit and couldn't be improved any further. What's more, the meteor rain might seem to have countless sword chi, but it was only around 100. It was far from comparable to the sect origin swords. Not only did Li Fuchen's emotions fluctuate, even Xiao Libi and the others were shaken. Lu Wuhuang clenched his fist tightly and swore to himself that one day he would learn the sect origin swords. With this secret technique, he would be able to dominate the world. Wei Yiping tried his best to suppress his shock and spoke in a gloomy tone. I didn't expect you to learn the sect origin swords. It seems like you are highly regarded in the Azure Water sect. As a 5-star secret technique, even the inner sect Grand Elder couldn't learn it as he wished. It required the approval of the sect patriarch and the support of several supreme elders. This was mainly to prevent the secret technique from being leaked. After all, a 5-star secret technique was too important. The other sects all racked their brains to obtain the other party's 5-star secret technique to increase their own trump cards. Raising his right hand high, thousands of sword chi gathered, Zhao Wujin said, "Didn't you want to fight? Then let's fight." It just so happens that my 10,000 swords return to origin secret technique has not killed the Heavenly Dipper realm peak martial artist. Perhaps it is just an undeserved reputation. As he spoke, Zhao Wujin's right hand slowly moved forward, followed by thousands of sword qi. Hee hee, Elder Zhao, there's no need to be angry. We're just joking. The spirit-hidden sect's old woman laughed dryly. She was really afraid that Zhao Wujin would be irrational and use thousands of sword qi to kill her. To be honest, she did not have the confidence to block the 10,000 returning swords. The strongest 5-star secret technique within a radius of several 100,000 kilometers, the 10,000 swords returning to origin secret technique that had slaughtered countless experts, did not make a move, but when it did, it would kill. Its illustrious reputation was built entirely on killing. Hao Lianhu coldly snorted, forcefully suppressing his anger. Facing Zhao Wujin, who cultivated the 10,000 swords returned to origin, he couldn't stand out. Zhao Wujin looked at Wei Yiping. Wei Yiping said, to cultivate the 10,000 swords returned to origin, one must first nurture the natal sword energy in the Dantian. The stronger the natal sword energy, the more sword qi can be released. I'm guessing that your natal sword energy can at most store a few thousand sword qi. The most terrifying thing about the 10,000 swords returned to origin was that the sword qi was endless. This wave of sword qi would be a few thousand, the next wave would be a few thousand, and the next wave could be 10,000. Therefore, even if one cultivated the same 5-star secret technique, he would not be able to withstand the attack of the 10,000 swords returned to origin. But the prerequisite was that the natal sword energy was strong enough. Wei Yiping did not believe that Zhao Wujin's natal sword energy could be that strong. Try it and you will know. Zhao Wujin was expressionless. Forget it, there will be a chance in the future. Now is not the time. Wei Yiping was not stupid. Even if it was a few thousand sword qi, it would be enough to kill him. Zhao Wujin coldly snorted, you've made the right choice. Elder Liang, summon your 2 treasures. Elder Liang nodded. As he finished, he blew a whistle. 10 minutes later, the gold bird and winged tiger flew over. But at this moment, the gold bird and winged tiger were in a sorry state. Their bodies were full of claw marks and bite marks. What happened? Who did this? Elder Liang roared. The gold bird and winged tiger were his lifeblood. Touching his lifeblood was equivalent to touching his life. What? It sounded like a baby crying, but it was 1,000 times louder. In the next moment, the Heaven Fiend sect's 4-winged Heaven Fiend beast chased from behind. Wei Yiping, your Heaven Fiend sect's 4-winged Heaven Fiend beast actually dared to hurt my gold bird and winged tiger. How could Elder Liang not understand that his 2 treasures were hurt by the 4-winged Heaven Fiend beast? Wei Yiping laughed sinisterly. Useless spiritual beasts, isn't it better for them to die? As if responding to Wei Yiping's words, the 4-winged Heaven Fiend beast's speed increased and caught up to the gold bird and winged tiger. Evil beast! Zhao Wujin roared. In the void, a sword qi shot out. Poof! As the sword qi penetrated its body, the 4-winged Heaven Fiend beast let out a miserable shriek and fell from the sky. Such power! A single sword qi severely injured the 4-winged Heaven Fiend beast? Everyone was shocked. Zhao Wujin, you dare? Wei Yiping was enraged as he sent a fist force at Zhao Wujin. PFFF, PFFF, PFFF. Dozens of sword qi shot out, riddling Wei Yiping's fist force with holes and automatically dissipating. Wei Yiping, if you dare to make another move, don't think of going back today. Wei Yiping was infuriated, but he didn't dare to make another move. He was confident he could withstand a few hundred sword qi. But a few thousand sword qi, he didn't have any confidence. Anyone below the reincarnation realm probably wouldn't have the confidence. Hao Lianhu and the spirit-hidden sect's old hag gulped. This was their first time witnessing the sect origin swords. And this was just the tip of the iceberg. They couldn't imagine what would happen if thousands of sword qi attacked. Simply invincible. In the past, Li Fuchen didn't know how powerful a 5-star secret technique was. But now he knew. The golden bird and winged tiger suffered some injuries. Fortunately, their injuries weren't too severe. After feeding the 2 beasts some pills, Elder Liang waved his hand. Everyone, come up. Hearing the command, the Azure Water sect members all flew up. Zhao Wujin was the last. Taking a glance at the three sects, Zhao Wujin kept the thousands of sword qi. Let's go. Endless violent winds blew as the two beasts flapped their wings and swiftly left the Hundred Herbs Lake. Damn it. The Hundred Herbs Lake's water exploded as Wei Yiping's expression turned extremely gloomy. Let's go too. The Violent Saber sect and Spirit Hidden sect summoned their sect's spirit beasts and left one after another. It was useless to say anything now. As long as there wasn't a sect war, they couldn't do anything to the Azure Water sect and Zhao Wujin. Staying here was just embarrassing themselves. Only the Heaven Fiend sect was left. Azure Water sect, I will eliminate them sooner or later. Chapter 166. In less than a week, Li Fuchen and the group returned to the Azure Water sect. Inner sect Grand Hall, Zhao Wujin said, apart from Chao Guang, the rest of you have progressed to the Earth realm. Logically speaking, without the direct disciple trials, you aren't considered direct disciples. But that is just a formality. This is your direct disciple token. From today onwards, you are all direct disciples. Zhao Wujin swung his hand and shot 5 tokens at Li Fuchen and the others. Receiving the token, Li Fuchen took a look. It was a silver token. There was a blue sea and a sharp sword on it. On the back was his name. Zhao Wujin continued, this is a silver token. Direct disciples are separated into 2 categories. One is silver and the other is gold. Silver class direct disciples can redeem sect items at a 30% discount. Gold class direct disciples can redeem sect items at a 50% discount. To become a gold class direct disciple, you have to pass the first floor of the direct inheritance tower within a year. There are a total of 3 chances. Let me tell you, out of the 500 direct disciples in the Azure Water sect, only 30 are gold class direct disciples. I hope that there will be a gold class direct disciple among you. Finishing his statement, Zhao Wujin took a glance at Li Fuchen. He didn't know what Li Fuchen's ability was, but it shouldn't be a problem for Li Fuchen to become a gold class direct disciple. Just like Sword Maniac, who easily became a gold class direct disciple. Lu Wuhuang asked, Grand Elder, what if I passed the second floor? There was still a year left and he believed that he could pass the first floor. Zhao Wujin laughed and shook his head, impossible. But Lu Wuhuang asked. An inner sect elder at the side said, the first and second floors have a huge difference in difficulty. Many of the silver class direct disciples can't even pass the second floor of the direct inheritance tower when they are at the 6th level of the Earth realm. From the second floor onwards, for every floor you pass, you will be qualified to redeem one of our Azure Water sect's direct disciples. Like a 3-star secret technique, a mystic class peak tier martial art, or a mystic class peak tier cultivation technique. If you wish to pass the second floor of the direct inheritance tower, you will need to be at least at the 3rd level of the Earth realm to have a sliver of hope. So difficult? Xiao Libi and the others had a change of expression. They didn't expect to become gold class direct disciples. Out of the 500 direct disciples, only 30 were gold class direct disciples. From the second floor onwards, I can exchange for a true technique for every floor I pass? Li Fuchen frowned. In this case, if he wanted to cultivate the true Inferno technique, he would need some time. Fortunately, Zhao Wujin's next statement allowed Li Fuchen to let out a breath of relief. But gold class direct disciples can obtain a direct art in advance. This is the privilege of a gold class direct disciple. Clearing his throat, Zhao Wujin continued. Alright, now hand over the items that you need to contribute to the sect along with the sect's storage bag. I'll give you contribution points. Including Chao Guang, the 6 of them handed over their sect's storage bags. Li Fuchen has a total of 14 storage pouches, 2 of which are Azure Billow sect storage pouches, but 2 storage pouches still cannot hold the resources that Li Fuchen wants to contribute, other herbs and ores. Li Fuchen can only take out and hand them over. Zhao Wujin laughed. He guessed that Li Fuchen should have a lot of storage bags, but as long as it wasn't the sect's storage bag, he could keep the rest. He didn't have the right to ask Li Fuchen to hand it over. After a round of counting, the contribution points were announced. Chao Guang, 760,000 contribution points. Hearing the announcement, Chao Guang's face revealed a delighted expression. 760,000 contribution points. This was a huge sum, enough for him to redeem any sects items. Yuan Tian, 800,000. Chen Fanghua, 960,000. Xiao Laibiwa, 9 million. Lu Wuhuang 2 million. Xiao Laibi and Lu Wuhuang had killed other disciples from other sects, hence there were plenty of resources in their opponents' storage bags. With an additional storage bag, they could harvest yellow class, high-tier or peak-tier herbs as much as they wanted. Hence, the amount of resources they received was at least double that of Chao Guang, Yuan Tian, and Chen Fanghua. Lastly was Li Fuchen. Li Fuchen handed over too many resources. It took a while to tally them all. Li Fuchen, 2 million. Gasp. Hearing the announcement, everyone took in a deep, cold breath. Even the inner sect elders had a face of envy. 2 million contribution points. What kind of concept was this? Most of the inner sect elders would only get a few 100,000 contribution points in a year. Even though there were other ways to obtain contribution points, but to accumulate 10 million contribution points was still a huge project. But Li Fuchen only took 7 days to obtain 10 million contribution points. It was simply infuriating to compare oneself with others. Zhao Wujin took some time before speaking. Good, very good. With this 10 million contribution points, your improvement speed will be much faster than others. In the sect, the thing that required the most contribution points was actually pills. The heaven and earth energy was too sparse. The higher one's cultivation level, the higher the requirement for pills. If not, just relying on absorbing the heaven and earth energy would take an unknown amount of time to increase one's cultivation level. No matter how high one's cultivation technique was, the requirement for pills would not disappear, it would just be slightly reduced. Other than that, there were other places that required a lot of contribution points too. Like the direct disciple region's Spirit Chi Grand Hall. The heaven and earth energy inside was much denser than the outside world. To cultivate inside, it would require 1,000 contribution points a day, which would be 300,000 plus points a year. Of course, to Li Fuchen, 300,000 plus points wasn't considered much. Chao Guang, you have yet to progress to the earth realm. Go back first. The rest of you, follow me to the direct disciple Grand Hall. Zhao Wujin gestured for the 5 to follow him. In just a short moment, riding on the sect's spirit beast, the 5 of them arrived at the direct disciple region. The direct disciple region was much more majestic than the inner sect region. But the number of people here was at least 10 times less than the inner sect region. The direct disciple Grand Hall was still presided over by Zhao Wujin. In fact, there were 2 types of inner sect elders. One was the regular inner sect elders, and the other was the direct elders. There were always only 10 direct elders. Unless someone died or was removed from their position, it was almost impossible to remove the direct elders. This is your direct disciple attire. As for the sword, it has already been given to you, so there will be no more. This is the key to your courtyard. After you leave, a deacon will bring you there. Finishing his statement, Zhao Wujin seemed to have sensed something and smiled. Welcome sect patriarch's arrival. Li Fuchen and the others were appalled and quickly looked back. Outside the direct disciple Grand Hall, a stream of light flew in and landed lightly on the ground. He was dressed in white and was around 40 years of age. He didn't reveal his chi presence, but gave off an irresistible prowess. Facing the white-clothed middle-aged man, no one dared to raise their head to look at him. After taking a glance, they quickly lowered their heads. It wasn't that they didn't want to, but they couldn't. Life-grade prowess, could it be? Li Fuchen had a thought in his mind. Welcome to Immortal Cultivation Audiobooks, your gateway to the mystical world of Xianxia. Dive into legendary tales of martial arts, spiritual growth, and immortal ascension. Here, we bring you full-length English audiobooks of the best Wuxia and Xianxia stories, from young prodigies to ancient sect wars. Perfect for fans of Against the Gods, Martial World, and tales of demons and gods.